Well, okay, let's get into it. So this is Michael Mesa from.
Hello.
Do you say you're from Miami, or what do you say?
I do say I'm from Miami. I'm part of unincorporated Miami-Dade County. So I guess Miami-Dade County, if you want to be particular.
Not Broward County.
Not Broward County. I'm way south of that. No, that's... Yeah. I mean, if I drive straight east, I'm in Miami, like the city of Miami.
And you were born there, born and raised like your whole life.
Yes.
But where did the music kind of come in? Because so your dad plays trumpet, right? And he went to Florida State.
He did.
Back in the day, what was it, 80s?
It was like, I think 91, 92, or 93. It was here.
Okay, so do a lot of people in your family play?
Not really. I think like the only musicians in my family are my dad. My mom plays piano too, and my dad's brother also plays piano. And their mom was an organist at a church back in Miami for years. But I think it mostly came from that part. And then I looked up to my dad a lot, musically, growing up.
Well, how old were you when you started the violin?
I was 8 years old.
Was that your first instrument?
Yes, that was my first instrument. Well, I mean, save for the recorder and first grade. But it was when I went on a trip to, I think, North Carolina or something, or North South Carolina, maybe whatever's above North Carolina.
Virginia.
No, it wasn't that far. It was definitely North Carolina that I saw a bluegrass band play, and I saw the violin player playing really fast, and I thought, oh my God, that's so cool. I want to be able to do that. So my parents took me to a local shop. I can't remember the name. It was pretty funny. He had like a YouTube advertisement and would recite the advertisement back to each other, my parents. But they got me the violin, and then we were staying at my dad's friend's cabin, and I spent hours there sawing away probably the worst playing you've ever heard in your life, 4 hours. And they were just upstairs, either ignoring it or tuning it out. And then, that's where it all started. And then
At 6 years old? Or what was it, 8?
It was 8.
They didn't give you a mute or nothing?
I don't think they knew what a mute was. I didn't even know what a mute was at that point.
So you continued it, but you went to an all-boys Catholic high school.
Yes, I did. That was...
Now that, you see that in the movies. Is it like how it is in the movies?
No, it is not. Well, only because most of the ones you see in movies are like boarding schools.
Yeah. So
you go away and you're just living with them. It's more like a college experience. But in that time, I started in middle school, and was there for 7 years. But yes, they make you wear button-up shirts, ties, slacks, loafers. If you wear anything out of line, get in trouble. My hair was too long for a lot of it. Over the eyebrows, over the ears, and not touching the collar. And I was very self-conscious about that.
So how many spankings did you get?
None. I was a good kid. I behaved. I stayed out of trouble. I tried to fly under the radar as much as I could because...
Did you all have a sister school?
We did, I think. Well, okay, so there were 4 schools, main schools that were... Well, there was a 5th one, but that was co-ed. Doesn't count. But there were 2 all-boy Catholic schools. One of them was middle to high school, and the other one was just high school. And then the other 2 were the same format for all-girl schools. And they... I don't know, there was always a rivalry between the 2 boy schools and I think between the 2 girl schools. But I don't really know which one was the proper sister school to ours. We didn't really do much with that.
So y'all didn't have that that thing that you see in the movies too, where the all girls school and all boys school go to some retreat or something and at the camp on the lake.
Nope. I don't think there's any lakes in Miami. It's mostly canals and swamp.
Yeah, alligators.
Lots of alligators.
But so did they have orchestra at the school?
Kind of. It was so the way the music program was set up there, it was band, and then you'd split off to whatever your instrument was. So like there was obviously like the concert band or like whatever the high school band was, and then within that class period, the people who played strings would go to a different room, and then they had orchestra. But it was like 8 violins and a bass, and then maybe a cello or a viola.
So did you like perform?
Yes.
You had like concerts and stuff?
Yeah, we had concerts. It was not great because I mean, obviously we're all young people, but like a lot of the people that were in the program were not there for, or the people that were at that school were not there for music. They were there for, academic enrichment, and
because they got sent there because they're bad kids.
something like that.
Some of them were.
Some of them were. There's some interesting stuff that happened there.
But where did then like you deciding to major in violin performance? Because so in my mind, right, somebody that does performance in music, they usually spent, a long time playing and they like in school orchestras or they do like all state and all region and stuff. But you didn't really do a lot of that, or did you?
I guess the extent of what I did classically in middle and high school, like so when I started playing violin when I was 8 years old, I joined the the Greater Miami Youth Symphony, which was a program that had different subsects of orchestras for different levels, and you would progress throughout the years as you got older, and they had the first one, I don't even remember what it was called. They had like Young Mozart's strings concert, and then the final group was symphony, and that was the one that had like 80-piece orchestra, ton of strings, brass, harp, everything you could think of. And they always put on, I think they put on more concerts or something. They'd perform at the University of Miami. I forgot the name of the concert hall. But I don't know, it was a very involved program. And a lot of those kids were in programs out in their own schools, high schools, and they would, I guess they all knew each other because they were at Coral Reef, they were at New World Symphony Orchestra. There was another one that I forgot. But they were also involved in that, but that was like kind of my only outlet to do that because I didn't have that in high school. And there was a whole point where I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to keep doing music because I started doing other stuff in school and I was getting more involved in that. But I think coming out of that, I realized that I was better at violin than I was at mock Congress and speech and debate, or like acting. I tried different things. I wasn't trying to, totally diss music, but I kind of came to the realization that I definitely enjoyed classical music more than anything else, or even just music performance. Like I like the act of playing an instrument. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
At what point did you then decide you were gonna major in the violin performance? Because you had an audition, right, to get on the School of Music.
Yeah.
So by your senior year, you're pretty much set. You're like, I'm gonna go to FSU and
Yeah.
do violin performance.
Yes. Yeah. I auditioned for. I think the point that I decided was between I think 10th and 11th grade. I was like, okay, I like doing this. Nothing else really seems of interest to me. And if I'm going to do something and if I'm going to pursue something in college, I want to further my education as a musician. I would like to learn more in that regard. And then, so I did the whole audition thing. I had actually, one thing of note was in high school, in fact, through all of middle and high school, the orchestra director at my at Belen, which was the Catholic school, since I was the only person that like actually practiced and cared about it, we had a like good relationship, and she was very like nurturing towards the growth of my artistic development and skill wise, and she was like very adamant about my tuning and playing in tune, and she was like the phrase just everything that I didn't really get anywhere else. She did provide that for me, so I do have her to thank. Anna Ruth Bermudez, cello player, growing up, because that she kind of like changed my view on music and performance, and it I don't know. I have a lot of I have a lot of memories from that, kind of fueling that decision to pursue it. And she helped me with the auditions, and I have my private teacher too. But like since I'd see her like every single day, it was it's like having an apprentice or being an apprentice or something like that.
Did you think that, like, kind of, I guess, playing in orchestra was going to be like your thing that you were going to pursue ultimately, kind of like as a career?
Not really. I didn't really have too much interest. I mean, I like playing it. It was a good skill to have, and it's very important to like be able to play it with other musicians and being in that setting, because that sometimes the job calls for it. But I always preferred playing in like chamber ensembles. I like the smaller groups, and one person per part, and it's just like kind of a more it's a little more freeing musically, because you could take more liberties, I guess, which I like doing. It's more fun.
Musical,
also.
Artistic liberties that you can't do in 80-piece orchestra.
Correct. Yeah. And granted, the orchestras have their own means of art in their own right, but I think it's a lot more personal when you're working with these other musicians and get like closer with them. That was a
Sure. But so then, when was this? When was your freshman? Was it fall 2020 or 2021? When was your?
it was fall of 2020. Sorry, 2020 was when I got to.
So you got here before Gabriel and Carlos.
Yes.
Were you here then with Lucas? Did you and Lucas start at the same time?
I did not know Lucas, though he did live down the hall from me. But like I barely knew him. Like it was. I mean, that was also when COVID was all happening, so we were all like confined to our rooms, and my suite mates would go into the bathroom with a hazmat suit and like bleach everything if when they found out that my roommate had COVID. I never got it. At least I don't think I did. But he got it, and I was just like, okay, well, I can't use the bathroom because they were cleaning it.
Your freshman year, consider, I don't know how to put this, like, I guess, like branching out to, I don't know, different things or clubs and stuff. Or you're just like focused on practicing and playing classical music and nothing else.
It was mostly that. It was mostly the classical stuff. I wanted to be as like involved and indulged in it as I could be. The only thing I did want to do was join a band, because I did play in one in high school. I started with friends of mine, and that was also a very musically fulfilling experience, because you just get a bunch of friends together and you play music, and if you're good, it's a lot more rewarding. And I played with some pretty good musicians at the time, and I probably thought they were better than, or I thought we all sounded better than we did, because I look back at some of those videos and they're a little rough. I think we were a little in over our heads. But when I did get to college and I was like wandering around campus, because that was the only place you could really go is outside, I'd see posters on the wall, and there was one poster on the wall that said drummer and guitarist singer looking for a bass player. And I called them, or like I emailed them, and I sent them a bunch of videos of me playing and all this stuff. And they said their influences were like, Radiohead, Primus, and other bands that I don't really know because I don't really listen to that stuff. But I was desperate and I really wanted to play with somebody, so I called them up, emailed them, and they were like, "Yeah, you're in or whatever." And then so I met up with them, and I kind of slowly realized that they were not what they said they were. I think it was a little disappointing.
Did you ever do any shows?
No, it was mostly like a recording project, and by the end of it, like the guitar player had left, and the drummer who was the singer, and he would write the songs. Who basically tried to like make me his producer, and I'm like, dude, I am not gonna produce your music. I don't even like your music. Yeah, not to be rude, but it was like he was expecting a lot of me, and he was a very sweet guy, but it was just not the kind of music I wanted to play, or like I didn't feel it,
So, so after your freshman year, what do you go back home for the summer?
Yeah.
So then you come back. So, fall 21, and then so spring 22 is what I think a consensus of when the mariachi started forming.
Yes.
And that's when I guess like Gabriel and Carlos talked to each other, and then they started recruiting. How did you come into that picture, into that whole thing?
That was like almost all Gabriel, because I was in orchestra with him, and I think we were in the same section, or we were stand partners at one point. And I don't remember for what it was. I don't remember if it was his fall or spring recital, but for one of them, he was like, "Hey, can you play violin?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he was like, "Here's the music," and then we played El Rey, and I don't remember the other song that we did. That was a long time ago. Like I look at the pictures, and we have like the big gray moños that I think his grandmother made, and I had a white shirt and black pants. Yeah.
Do you remember what arrangement of El Rey that was?
I do not. I don't know if it's the one we've been doing for. I don't know if we started with that one and kept doing that one. I think it was the one that we're doing now.
It'll be the Jose Alfredo one.
Probably.
Like the one that starts with 2 quarters. Do you remember how you played it?
How I played it?
Yeah, how you interpreted that song on the violin.
No, there was no interpretation being done. It was me and 2 other violinists, and I was just like, half of my battle was just trying to keep it together between the 3 of us, and then whatever was going on with the armonia. And armonia was upright bass and a classical guitar sitting down, and I think I can't remember if he was like finger picking each quarter.
Probably. What did you know about mariachi at that time?
Nothing at all.
No. I mean, growing up in Miami your whole life, did you ever see mariachis?
Yes, I saw one that somebody hired to play in the neighborhood. It was during COVID, actually. They hired this group to play in front of, like, I think my grandmother's neighbor's house. And we all sat outside and watched them. And they played, and I do not remember a lick of what was played. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, wow, who the hell are these people? Like, why did they hire them to play in the middle of the street? And I forgot about them until, I started,
It didn't have that same impact on you as the bluegrass did.
No. But even, no, it didn't. I didn't think twice about it.
Well, you kept with it though. Like, why?
With
the mariachi?
Because I didn't know any other Latinos. Honestly, I think that was probably the biggest reason, because I didn't, I thought it was cool that, oh my God, Carlos and Gabriel speak Spanish. I can like kind of relate to them more than literally anybody else in the orchestra, because they're all, white, and I don't really know what they talk about. But
yeah, well, they kind of speak Spanish.
They kind of speak Spanish. If I'm gonna throw Carlos under the bus, I think for like the first 3 months of knowing him, I did not understand a word that came out of his mouth in English or Spanish, and I would just nod, and I'm like, oh wow, that's very interesting. And I always tell him that, but I've since learned to attune my ear to how he speaks.
That's a skill. There's still times where he'll be telling me something, and I'll be like this far,
Yeah.
and then it'll be like, I don't know what you're saying, Carlos. Like, you need to slow down because you're mixing your words
Yes.
and you're forming new words that don't exist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're saying.
Even yesterday, like my ears have been clogged for the last few days, and like every time he speaks, I've had to say what, like every single time, every sentence that came out of his mouth. I'm like, dude, I cannot understand a word you're saying.
Well, summer of 2022, summer 22 is the summer of your sophomore year. What? So you went back home again,
Yeah.
and then y'all came back, and then you just started going like really at it with mariachi, like learning mariachi songs and stuff.
Kind of, yeah. There was at one point where the guitar player was not present, and then I ran up to the instrument library, grabbed the classical guitar, went back down to the rehearsal room, and I started playing on 2 and 3, and then
On everything.
well, yeah,
La Negra, 2, 3.
that's we'll get there.
So yeah, is that why you switched over? Because so you're violin because what you played, and then you went to the harmonia.
Yeah, it was mostly because I like the guy that was playing guitar didn't like I could tell that it was missing the attack and like just something. So I came and I played, probably the more basic things, like nothing even close to a son or even a joropo. But I was able to keep time, and they told me, they were like, oh well, that's better than the other guy. So yeah, so we just kept doing that for a while, and I stayed on it because no one else was really going to do it. And you can find violinists all over the place.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh well, I might as well just keep doing this, and we did. And then I guess going into the new year, I was pretty solely on guitar.
And so this is now kind of like spring 23.
Yes,
Probably.
I think.
I mean, so at some point y'all started doing gigs, right? Playing restaurants and
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. We. 'Cause I remember. I think the first Cinco de Mayo we did was in 2023.
Mm-hmm. And by that point, you were already fully on the rhythm section.
Yeah. I've been playing with them throughout the year. Like we played events, and obviously we did, Casa Grande for a certain amount of time.
So I get here at fall 24 or
Fall of
spring 24 is when I popped up randomly because I happened to be visiting,
Yes.
and it was Carlos's senior recital.
Right.
And then Carlos reminded me actually that I talked to Lucas outside of that hallway thing before the recital started. And then you guys played, and I went to watch. And in that, like, what is it called? DRH, right? The recital hall. It's kind of hard to see sometimes because of the way lighting and how it's all structured. But there was just something that I was noticing about like your hands. I was like, what is that on his hands? I can't tell. And then so we finished, and I go down there and I look at your hands, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's a thumb pick.
It was a thumb pick.
He's using a thumb pick on the vihuela. And at this point, you already had a vihuela.
It was not my vihuela. It was someone else's. I don't know who the hell's it was.
Yeah, well, you're playing on a vihuela. you still never got yours. But I saw that. And Michael, in my 10 plus years, right, since I was 14, at that time, I was 7? So 13 years, right, of within the mariachi world. Never saw thumb pick on a vihuela. So you're a pioneer, Michael.
Pioneer of something. Would you care to know the breakdown in my head as to why I got to that point and why you witnessed that afternoon?
I don't want to give the listeners ideas of implement. No, just go ahead. Why did you do this?
So the reason I did that was because when I started on guitar, I started playing with my hands. I just like strum with all of my fingers, and I try to get it somewhat in time, and it kind of worked. And then my hands started bleeding, and I'm like,
good.
Maybe I should start using a pick.
No.
Well, a pick on a guitar, which is acceptable, right?
Yeah, but you would use the big triangle pick, so.
Right. So I didn't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
So I found a random pick, and I'm like, okay, well, this is better, and I can get a stronger attack with it, and it hurts less. So I started doing that. And then my hands started cramping up because I was gripping the damn pick so tight because I was trying to play so loud in the restaurants that I was like, dude, like my hand's going to fall off if I keep doing this. You know, like half the battle is holding the pick in the first place. So the next train of thought was I'll get something that just stays on my hand. I don't have to grip it to death. I could just play it with the pick attached to my thumb, and I can let my fingers go a little bit more. And in terms of longevity and playing loud in restaurants, it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
To like just be heard and be audible within all the noise. And then after that was, I think, when Carlos brought up like, oh yeah, I think you were supposed to be playing on a vihuela this whole time. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll play. You give me whatever you want, and I'll play on it. I'll try to play on it. So I don't remember if this was the one from the instrument library, or if it was his. There was at one point where he brought in his own, but I played on both of those for a while, and then I had the thumb pick on, and I just kept playing it on that because it was easier. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, I kept doing it, and I kept getting. And what was really nice is I could tremolo really fast because I didn't have to like think about anything. I just spasm out my muscles, and it worked, and it did the job for a very long time.
Yeah, but how were them up slaps though?
I had no idea what that was. I cannot tell you. I can get the down slaps pretty good, I think, because I instead of using like my thumb, I'd use like the palm of my hand. I'd go like,
yeah,
you know.
You would. I remember that. Then when I came, I said, "Give me that," and then okay, now play, and you're like, then your hand was all stupid or something.
It was all bruised up again. I had to go through what I started with back then, which was the whole, well, my hand's gonna start bleeding, so I manned up.
It's supposed to bleed.
No, it sucks.
How did you know to use the strap? Well, I don't know. In mariachi term, it's called a vihuela strap, but it's a classical guitar strap. How did you know to use that, or where'd you even get one?
I got that from Carlos. So again, for like the first probably several months of gigging, I sat on a stool, and I'd sit on that, and you could see the old videos from a long time ago. I think it was like the audition for the Costa Rica thing. I don't know. Carlos mentioned it the other day, so I'm remembering now. But in those videos, you could see me sitting on a stool with my hand. I was playing. Actually, I wasn't even playing with a pick. I was playing with my index and my thumb. I think. But yeah, I was sitting, and then eventually when we started doing the gigs, like I just like lobbed it into my arm, and I just like death grip it so that it wouldn't fall down. And I would be so tired after those gigs. It was awful. But I was making money playing music, which is what I like doing that. It's nice.
And it wasn't on no classical violin. It wasn't no rock band. It was mariachi.
Of all things, I was boom chucking on for 4 hours, and I'm like, you know what, why not? Because it was fun because I also was friends with the guys. So a lot of arguments and yelling all the time, but it was still fun because it was all for a common goal, which was being professional musicians, quote unquote, to some degree. Well, sorry, to answer your question, Carlos gave me the strap.
Oh, Carlos gave you the strap?
Yeah, he had one. And then I was just like, okay, and it worked.
And you figured out how to put it on. But you do the thing where you put it around your back.
Well, at first I didn't do that. At first, I was like, oh my God, this thing's like flopping all over the place. And then after that, I think I stuck my hand through it, and I'm like, oh, this I can like. It's a little more stable to do the crossbody strap. And then when we auditioned for the Disney cruise, we went to Delgado's Mariachi shop in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was like, check out this like shiny crossbody strap, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what I've been looking for forever.
Yeah.
You know, it was awesome. So that's the one I still have, and I will put on if I'm playing vihuela.
You know, the around the neck or crossbody, that's pretty highly debated. I used to be a crossbody person, and then it became more of a convenience thing. It's just a lot more convenient to put it around your neck on and off, because when you have it across your body and you're in a full traje, you have to take off your jacket to take that strap off.
Yeah.
And it was just very annoying. And also, especially the black string one, the real cheap one, that thing would just slide everywhere. And then another argument people make is, so when you have it across the body, it is more stable, but it does limit your range of motion with the instrument itself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've come across that.
Not really, because like every time I'd play, like with the, I guess the front body, what is it called again?
The what?
The front, is it front body, or what do you call the
top? The top, or
the top?
The face, or what are you talking about?
Or I'm saying like it's crossbody versus...
Oh, around your neck?
So for the around the neck ones, that's the one that I had the mobility issue, because I'd always tend to bring my left hand forward and tuck my arm back. So like it would always like start swinging back that way, and I'm like, I don't want to play there. I don't want to play like this. It's ridiculous. So at least for me, it felt ridiculous, because I guess I'm used to the violin being in this direction. So if I just go like that, my hand's in front of me. But I would always put on the crossbody strap before I'd even get dressed. That was the first thing I did. I'd
like
put on my
no
pants.
shirt, nothing, just your underwear and strap.
Yep, and then I'd go to the gigs. No, pants, shirt, and then I'd open up my viola case. I'd put on the strap, then the coat, and then I'd just be ready for the rest of the day. And it was like it was a one-time thing. I don't have to worry about taking it on or off, or like dangling around the place. Yeah, because the I already forgot what it's called. The front body.
Around the neck?
Around the neck. I don't know why I can't remember that. The around the neck ones would always get in my way of anything. So
yeah, they would. But, you're supposed to use a finger pick, right? And guitar, you have the guitar and then the strap. And all this is standard now. Listening back, especially now, listening to like Carlos and Gabriel's explanation of why y'all did the wild stuff that y'all did to form this group. It's funny because in a way it's like y'all were inventing it, figuring out how to do it, like how it was in its origins of 100 plus years ago. Because 100 plus years ago there was no finger pick or like strap like that. It was literally like for the guitarron, when that started coming around, whatever, like a piece of rope, right, that you would use, or guitar, and you would tie it around the neck there. And now if you see somebody with on mariachi and a guitar and you have it around your back and has that thing where you have like the buttons and you clip it, and it's like, that looks so bad. That's very unprofessional. That's not what you do in mariachi. You have to do under here.
Yeah.
Or on the sound hole. And that's just like how it became the standard over time. And what y'all were doing was like figuring out how to do it without any guide or without any reference of like what the standard was. Because I'm sure probably in the early forms of mariachi too, they probably sat. There was no strap. There was no guitarron, didn't exist back then, so it was the harp, where before the guitarron, and probably the violin had very different technique. There was no trumpet at all in the very beginning. But still, there is a standard now. And then growing up in it, and then coming here and seeing the wild mess that y'all did, that what y'all were doing, was just very shocking to me. And
Was it shocking to see a German with a guitarron and a Cuban with a fingerpick?
Yeah. I mean, I had played in Florida before, right, years ago in like Orlando area. So I mean, I was used to like some South Americans playing. But I mean, they're all older. And big old German guy playing guitarron was funny too. I can't think of anybody that I played with that was like white German in all the years, playing everywhere. There's been a couple guitarron players that have played that are black. But yeah, I mean, a majority is going to be Mexican. And also, I mean, being from the Valley, everybody's like 90+% Mexican. And so, yeah, you know, I get here. And then what was that like when I came here and I said, y'all are doing this shit wrong. Fix it.
I tried fixing it. Well, at first I was very reluctant to do so because I was like, I just figured out to get into the groove of this way of playing because I'd been working on just like in my head justifying everything and like, okay, I got used to playing it this way. And the other thing is that I had seen videos of people playing vihuela, and you showed me the videos. Yeah. And the biggest hoop to jump through, I think, or the biggest pill to swallow in my case, was the idea that you're supposed to do all of your downstrokes with your index and all of your upstrokes with your thumb. And the hardest thing for me was to strum down without getting my thumb in the way and to strum up without getting all my other fingers in the way. And for someone who's never done that or even heard of that technique, to have to, you know, like usually for most guitar players, it's like you have one object, which is the pick, and then you use that same surface to go up and down, which I imagine how it is for the guitar, mariachi guitar too. But, you know, to do that with your index and thumb, it was just like I couldn't get around it, and I still struggle with it now.
It's a, I don't know, it's kind of a unique thing because so even in mariachi guitar, there's a debate about that too on how to use the pick. You're gonna find different people, different schools of thought, right? Because you have a pick, and some literally do kind of like this thing, where these fingers are kind of fanned out, and then the pick is sticking out here, and it's just all pick, everything.
Right.
Majority, almost 100%, except when there's like something that's like a very specific, has to have like a sweep in there. And then there's other people that they kind of tilt the pick in, and then they relax these fingers, and they use just a little tiny bit of grazing of this part of your hand when you go down, and up is still just all pick.
Right.
But the down, there's like a little bit touch of the skin, like the flesh, to give it more of a warmer or rounded sound or whatever. It's just different ideas, philosophies for how it should sound. And it does sound distinctly different if you just use the pick and if you do the combination. On vihuela, it's just become universal that a finger pick and that's it. I used to play without a finger pick and just my hands, just like that. Because some people put acrylic nails.
I did that too.
You did the acrylic nails?
Well, on my thumb, because.
Oh yeah.
Well, at least when I first started, after you told me, you know, you're doing this wrong, you know, go eat dirt. I was like, okay, all right, fine, I'll learn the right way. So the summer of 24 is when I spent like 3 months relearning everything, you know, and
Yes.
that's when I started using the acrylic nail on my thumb because my thumbnail would keep breaking. It's like super. I don't know. I was always doing something wrong, and I'd always keep clipping the strings on my way down with my thumb, and then it would go and it'd break off. And I'm like, oh crap, I can't play gigs. So I'd slap on an acrylic nail, and then I'd do that, and then that would break too. And then it was a struggle.
Was it like the real thin ones that you like kind of paste on or glue or whatever? Or like the thick gel type?
I think it was one of the thicker gel ones. I don't know. I just got whatever was at CVS, and I'd look down in shame as I'm checking out.
That's not so bad. You know, there was a guy in Austin. He doesn't really play anymore. But one of his rituals every week was to or Saturday morning go early to the nail salon and get his nails done, but only on his right hand.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's here to play. I don't think he would use a finger pick sometimes. I don't know. But I've been to a nail salon before, and it's always an interesting conversation, right? Because especially when you go with like the Asian ladies that don't speak a lot of English, and then you're trying to explain to them that you want the acrylic like gel, but just on on two fingers.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, but why? And then they don't know what to charge to, and it's just like, here, just give me the freaking nails. So yeah, I only did that one time, and it was an emergency situation because we had a concert at Texas State, and my thumb nail broke. So it broke the week of the concert. So I went and got a acrylic nail, which to this day, and that was in 2000 and I got it, I think like 2017. So 9 years ago. I think it was like spring 2017. To this day, if you like, I don't know if you can kind of see, but I can feel it. It's like a ridge.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That happened from that. Like my nail kind of deformed when I was taking off the acrylic. It kind of like broke.
Yeah.
My nail bed, and it was just like waved and like weak for months. I don't know, maybe a year, till finally it was like it got some strength back, but it kind of like deformed my nail basically to this day, and this is 9 years later. So I never did it again after that, because the thing is too is when you do that, you kind of always have to do that, or else I don't know, your nails, it takes time for your nails to get strong. I would do this whole ritual thing where I would like take pills. I would buff my nails, I'd clean them. It'd take me like hours to just do my right hand and look perfect. I also did classical guitar in high school, which is why I already had like nail care, like thoughts and stuff on how I would do it. And it kind of translated to mariachi. But in classical guitar, you're kind of supposed to angle your nails a certain way depending on how your hand falls. In mariachi, that's not as important, the angle of your nails. But so yeah, then I came here fall 24. I would come a little bit in the summer too, or like randomly, because I was looking for a place to live and stuff. And then so at the same time, Danny came, because we started the same semester. What was it like when we came in, and y'all had already kind of set your songs and your arrangements and the way you play with each other for like the last year and a half, or 2 years?
More like 2.
Well, yeah, so we're talking about fall 24. And then we come in, and it's just like, you guys got to change everything you're doing. What was that like?
Well, I mean, I don't even think we really changed much until like fall of 25 because we kept doing the same
Yeah, you'll do.
arrangements or not arrangements, but we kept doing things the same way we were doing before. The only difference is that I was playing with a slightly less wrong technique. Still probably
Right.
wrong, but I guess we just kept going the way we were doing it, and then you sang more stuff, playing guitar, and Lucas was still playing bass. And I don't know, at least on my end, nothing was really different for that whole time, other than like, oh, we're learning more songs, and I'm like, oh crap, I have to learn more songs. So I was just trying to like memorize more stuff, I guess, and then I think Lucas, like, I guess left in the fall of 20 or in the spring of 25. Like his last gig was like the Mother's Day of then. Obviously, he's come back a few times, but like
Yeah.
that was the point where he broke off, and I was like, I think that was when it kind of just like shifted to what it is more like now. Because when we came in the fall of 25, that's when Danny and Joseph were like established in the group, I guess. So
Yeah.
I still played vihuela a little bit, but it was like, I had no idea what I was doing because you guys had just and you were playing bass by then.
Yes.
So the amount of rep that you and Danny knew, like I could not keep up at all. And it was at that point where I was like, I don't know anything, So like it got to the point where everything that I did know was nullified because the rhythm section was different, and because you guys knew all these songs, and I personally think we could have kept going with the same product that we have, and we learned more songs, whatever, but it would not be the same product as if you were. In my head, it's not the same group. That's something that I also have noticed a lot in the way like all you guys talk about mariachi. It's like the group doesn't really depend on who's in the group. It's just whether the group gigs, and you'll have people call in and out, and you'll have subs and all that. But it's not like it's not a band. It's not like a group of musicians, which I'm used to.
Right.
In every other, I guess, form, obviously orchestras, you have people coming in and out, but even chamber groups, it's like this isn't really the same chamber group if you're like switching out members. If you're in a band, if you switch out members, it's not the same creative vision.
Yeah.
So like that is also another thing that I was kind of not used to up until that point, where it's like, oh, let's just change it, but it's the same group. So in my head, it's not really the same group because Lucas and I aren't playing Armonia because we don't have the same repertoire that you and Daniel do.
Yeah.
And then so for me, it got to the point where it's like, I like you guys have this database of songs in your head that you've been listening to since you came out of the womb, and here I am, reading sheet music for 3-chord songs, I think I got okay at following the bass at some point. I could like kind of keep up, but I think when Joseph got there was kind of like the point where I was like, okay, wait, I can play violin because there's music. And that was always the common denominator, was if there was music. I couldn't keep up with you guys because you were playing everything by memory on rhythm. But with Joseph, he had this also, instead of having the database of knowledge in his head, it was like actually written down. So that was when I switched over to violin, or back to violin as to when I first started. So I don't
All
know.
the way from spring 21.
Pretty much. Or 22.
Spring
No, 21, yeah. Wait, no. 22.
Yeah, spring 22.
Yeah.
So so it's like you were filling in that Armonia section until somebody else got there, and then you're like, all right, let me go back.
Honestly, yeah, because that was the whole reason I started playing Armonia, was because no one else was going to do it, and no one else really knew how to do it. I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So, but that was the closest thing they were going to get for a long time. So
Put the Cuban guy that plays in a rock band on guitar.
That's some rhythm.
It is an interesting thing to look at it that way. So in mariachi, in gigging mariachi, the last when I talked to Gabriel and talked to Carlos, talked extensively on my belief of how a gigging mariachi and a showpiece mariachi or school mariachi are two different things.
Right.
And I still believe that when in its current form. Now, should they more coincide and being able to somebody that gigs can play on stage and somebody stage play on gigs? Yeah, but there's a lot of reasons why it's not like that right now. But in the gigging sense, like the first group that I played with in Austin that I was officially part of was Mariachi Amor. And when I joined, it was, so we go by like saying generations. So it was like technically like the second generation of that group.
Right.
And now that group, I need to go back and look at all the pictures, but, and I talk about this with the owner of that group sometimes. And I think you're still like, this is like this, you could argue it's like the sixth generation of that group. Because the people that are currently in the group right now, some of them were like in middle school, elementary or whatever, when I was there, right? Because this is 11 years ago. And if somebody is 18 or 19 in that group, they're a small little kid. But it's still Mariachi Amor. The repertoire changed. Some of the arrangements might have changed, the keys, and it actually there are big differences. So when I've gone to go back and play with them a couple of times, and like a year ago I went and we played at a restaurant, and then so I called out songs that were just like a staple, right? That were like, okay, we're Mariachi Amor, we're known to do this song. I was like, okay, let's play this song. I don't know, like Guantanamera or something. And the new generation of the players, they didn't know it. And it's just something that just didn't do. It got like lost over time. And I think basically a very similar thing happened here. There's things that we don't do today, and then we couldn't even do like the one that's probably the most common would be like Amori, mi familia or something. If we were to do that, I don't know how to play it. Danny doesn't really know how to play it. We don't do it. But you guys could just, if the four of you come back together, you'll be able to just play it like instantly.
Yeah. I don't even remember. What did you say the song was?
The Disney one that y'all learned.
Oh, the world is mi familia.
Yeah, the world is mi familia.
That was a very American accent used on that. I'm ashamed. But yeah.
The world is mi familia.
Familia.
Yeah, so like, y'all could probably play that now, right now. I don't play it.
Right.
Danny can play it. And it
Sin
just...
D. That's another great one.
Sin D. Yeah, y'all do it in the key of D, where I've always played in the key of C, and I just had a completely different arrangement.
Right.
So it evolves. I know we have different generations. Just like Mariachi Vargas. What are they like I don't remember what generation it is now, 9th, I think. Because they're from 1890. I should know this by heart, right? I don't know, 1899, I think, around there. They're still Mariachi Vargas de Tecalitlan, but you don't have 150-year-old members in the group.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess maybe I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, maybe that is kind of a unique thing too with mariachi. Because I mean, rock bands, you do have people change and they keep their name, but I think like that's what like a majority is the same. Is there any like big rock band that's changed their members so much, but they're still called the same?
Well, I mean, the ones that like. I went to see the Beach Boys last year.
Yeah.
It was like 2 of the Beach Boys, and all of the new members were these like prodigy, hired musicians to play with them. But like at that point, it's not really the Beach Boys. Brian Wilson's not there; he's dead. You know, so is it really the Beach Boys, or is it like a glorified Beach Boys cover band? You know, the same thing with Yes as another band, a 5-piece band. They broke off into different bands. Some of them played with each other, but they would all play the same music that they recorded in the early 70s. But they wouldn't really call themselves that, but some of them did. Some of them had the right to the name Yes, but it's like, which one is the real Yes? Because they're still around. It's just confusing. But I think kind of like the only comparison I could draw that to is like orchestras. The London Philharmonic is, not, or Berlin. I don't even know the names of orchestras, but like these orchestras, they do not have members that were there 200 years ago. They're probably not playing the same rep that they were back then, but they're still called that. But I think that also lends itself to the idea of trying to keep a tradition alive, which I think is what, from what I've gathered over knowing you and like everyone that has been involved in mariachi, is like it's mostly for the preservation of that cultural tradition, if that is a reasonable observation to make.
There's definitely an aspect of tradition, like there's a certain level of respect that I try to do for mariachi. And I don't know, people could call me hypocritical for the fact of some things or some stuff that's happened at gigs where I wouldn't represent that and say showing the respect to mariachi. But the thing is, to me, it's different. I define a gigging mariachi and a showpiece mariachi as two separate ensembles entirely. Like it was one question this morning that Gabriel asked me that we didn't talk about in the podcast. He's like, what, you should have talked about if people that are in the school group would be considered mariachis. And I looked at him and I was like, why wouldn't they? They're in a mariachi. This is a different kind of mariachi. It's not a gigging mariachi, but they are. So it depends, I guess, your definition of mariachi. Now, there are people that carry the same standard from a showpiece, stage performance to gigging in a backyard.
Right.
And I don't know. I had that kind of discipline and dedication at some point, and it just kind of went away over time for, I don't know, a variety of reasons. But I was also never fully committed to music because, even now I'm doing a PhD in engineering. I never majored in music.
Yeah.
I minored in it, and I've always played it. My family's always played it. But I treat them differently because the goals of the groups are not the same.
Yeah.
The goal of Mariachi Tallahassee and FSU Mariachi are not the same. The goal of any gigging mariachi, right, and Mariachi Amor over there, all the mariachis in Mexico, mariachis everywhere outside of a school, they have the same goal. It's the same, and it's to make money, which is the goal of pretty much any business, unless you're like a nonprofit. And it's funny. It's like, we're the goal of our company is to provide customers with the satisfaction for their, no, like you're making money. That is a consequence of your product that you're paid for to do. And you wouldn't do that without getting paid. Most people, mariachi, that gig, would not do it, would not spend 6-8 hours a day traveling, performing, playing these backyards, dealing with clients if they weren't getting paid. And I think that's something people struggle to admit because they're like, well, no, it's like the love of the music and the culture and tradition. And I'm like, but then why are you getting paid? Why don't you do it for free? If that is your purpose, if that's your goal. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, because I need to get paid. I'm like, well, yeah. Then there's a factor in it that is monetary. If you weren't getting paid, you wouldn't do it. You would find something else to get paid. And it's because you need to. We need to have money to live in this capitalistic world. A school group, the point is not to make money because you don't get paid. So to me, in a showpiece group, in the school, the university, the high schools, competitions, is when you can fully showcase that like tradition and culture and like love you have for the music and the genre purely for the love of doing it. If it's a competition, I mean, it's probably to win, right? And there's money. But like in the school group, we would put on a concert every single semester. We didn't get paid for that concert. We just did it, and we had to pay to be in the class. It's just how it works. But yet we'll still do it. And that concept to people that grew up playing mariachi, just gigging, so somebody like Danny or Joseph, that's like stupid or unheard of. Like, wow, like why would you spend 6 months rehearsing and putting a show together and then not get paid for it? Because like, well, it's mariachi, of course you're going to get paid because they've been getting paid to play since they were teenagers. And then to me, that's like, okay, well, then you're only doing it because you get paid. Like, why would you not want to do it to showcase Mexican music and culture? And I'm like, well, you get paid to play orchestra concerts. How many times you get paid to play with the USO or UPO at Florida State?
$0.
Zero.
I mean, nothing. Like it's.
You did it. I mean, you had to do it for credit to graduate and stuff.
You're also learning stuff too. I mean, like that is also transactional because it's not like you're getting nothing out of it. You're getting paid with experience. Mm-hmm. You know, to some degree because you're learning to work with other musicians who are also there to learn how to work with other musicians, and then the conductor is giving that whole group of people, you know, lifelong information about how to work with other people, which is what they're there for, you know. But they put the concert at the end of the show because they care and they want to be able to do it in the future so that they can get paid.
Yes.
To do
it. Now, well, so in mariachi, we would. I mean, there was some benefit to transactional benefit being in the Texas State Mariachi. Just being in the Texas State Mariachi or UTRGV gives you a certain amount of clout to where you will just get invited to gigs, right? Or invited to groups or put in positions where people not in these groups wouldn't get, or they had to kind of work their way up into it from gigging and just kind of like knowing people going through that route, as opposed to, you know, just being a part of this group, having never gigged before, or being part of now a university ensemble that is like highly looked at and respected, and be like, okay, well, when you're in that, you know that the people know that you can play your instrument very well. They don't know how well you can gig or what your repertoire is like, but they're willing to take a chance, at least the first time, to be like, okay, well, this kid can play. Well, let's see how much he knows or how he can handle himself in a gigging situation. And when we're preparing for the shows and stuff, some of that does transfer to gigging. Something like the stage presence, some of the songs do transfer, but the changing keys, that's not something that we would practice. Playing with no sheet music is not something that we would normally do. When you get to a university level, there's a certain level that you're expected to come into. So like day one of rehearsals and at Tech State Mariachi, right, a freshman, I was like, okay, we went over the syllabus, 15 minutes, whatever. Okay, everybody get it? Let's play La Negra. 1, 2, 3, go. Everybody starts playing. And just quickly, the violins be like, okay, you play second here, you're getting third, and I'm going to be first. And then the trumpets do the stuff. And then the harmonia are like, okay, we're going to do this manico here. And then 10 seconds later, okay, everybody's got it. Let's go play. Nobody's going to be taking out the sheet music. Nobody's going to be following, or nobody's going to be like, oh, well, I only play first or by the second. Like, that's something that's just kind of expected to know. And so like El Rey, Relámpago, we never really had sheet music for that. Those are just songs that you should like kind of know because they're like basic standards in mariachi. And to have like an idea of that, the culture and the tradition should be continued. I always feel it like it gets tainted a little bit with all the money. So basically, ultimately, that's why I played in the school groups for as long as I did in high school and even Tech State. Even though I never majored in music, I didn't have to be a part of any of those ensembles. Well, for a little bit, because I did minor in music, so I did need ensemble credits. But I earned those pretty fast. At a certain point, I didn't have to anymore. My final semester of undergrad, I remember I reached out to the mariachi director, or one of them, and I was like, "Hey, I want to go join the mariachi again in Tech State." And then he calls me. He calls me on the phone. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he's like, "Are you serious? Are you gonna come back?" Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, but I only want to be in the second group, and I want to play vihuela." Like that was my request. And I mean, I could say that and do that too because I was already older and I had been through the program for years, right? I wasn't gonna make that request at an 18-year-old coming into the program, knowing nobody. But yeah, so then I joined, and I did a concert. And we rehearsed, I don't know how long. I was living in Austin, so I had to drive to San Marcos back and forth multiple times a week. We recorded a virtual concert because this was spring 21. And so we didn't have a live audience. We ended up having some live performances. But I did that. And that took away so much time from filming, from doing the podcast, from taking gigs. I don't know, from doing other stuff. And it was because I wanted to do that again. I want to do it basically one last time because I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to play on stage at the university or the school group for fun. Because I knew I'd continue gigging and I'll keep doing it. And it's great. And, you have the interactions with the clients. But at the end of it, and just like anything else, it's a job. You get paid to do it. You get paid to perform at your job, whatever your task is. And then that's it. So, yeah, sometimes I would have a beard, right, in gigging. I wouldn't do that on stage in a school group. I would never sit down during a concert. But again, and in the school setting, we're not we're not playing for 8 hours or 5 hours, 6 hours. We have max a 2 hour concert, and that's with like breaks in between and like changes and other groups coming on and off. So to me, they're completely different ensembles. They require different things. I mean, sometimes clients get upset at you if you don't take their drinks or their food because they look at it as an insult.
Yeah.
We're not going to be drinking on stage at a school, right? We're not going to be shouting, taking requests, or like interacting with a crowd or like pulling somebody and stuff like that, right? And so it's just come to two completely different goals, to two different ensembles like that to me. But there still is like I don't know, I guess a minimum standard that you have in gigging. And it's not, to me, at least, I don't know how Danny and Joseph look at it, but it's not a tradition thing. More with the music, it's more of the standard of how mariachis have now done these songs or arrangements, or how to act with a client or at a gig, everywhere, universally. And it was more of bringing that to you guys, to you, Lucas, Carlos, right, and Gabriel. Because we could have kept doing your arrangements, and I did just like basically conform to the four of you because it was just one of me. And to have all four of you change your arrangements and stuff like that, it would have been a lot. And you already had your clients, you already had the way that you were doing the gigs. But, and I talked about this with Gabriel and Carlos, it put you guys in a situation where you lived in this bubble, where you perfected your craft in here. But as soon as you leave, you cannot play with these other groups because you're doing an arrangement of Cinti that nobody else does. You're playing La Ley del Monte and Me and can't transpose. And then you're just the way you handle talon, the way you don't know how to cut songs when you're in a talon setting, like all those things are just the standard that if you want to then now go to Atlanta, right, in Texas or Tampa or anywhere, you can just go do that. Like I've gone to go play in Tampa a bunch of times. Not that different from playing in Austin, playing in San Antonio, playing in the Valley, playing in Atlanta, playing in Dallas. It's very minor things that are different. The thing with you guys is that it was major things that were different. And on top of them being different is you guys did not know the standards of not just the arrangements, but just of how things are done. So I've played with plenty of groups that have their own arrangements, like filled in for bigger groups that are already well rehearsed. But for some reason, vihuela player, guitarra player can't make it. And it's a big deal when, if you have a rehearsed show or group or something, your rhythm player's out and sub in. I come in, I don't know those arrangements. They know I don't know those arrangements. So instead of like forcing me to conform to all their arrangements of their songs, or be like, okay, here's sheet music, or like here, pull out your phone and just read and follow along. No, they'll just play the standard arrangement that everybody knows. So they know their nice, fun quizás arrangements or Cinti arrangements, but they also know the standards for situations when you don't have the people that are always with you and you got to bring in somebody else. Instead of being like, oh, now we can't do that song because, oh, well, this guy's here, and then when we can't do it, why don't you as an ensemble know multiple arrangements to be able to accommodate for situations like that. And that's just kind of another level. But and also, you guys never really thought that would ever happen.
Yeah, that's also a very big point, is that like I think at least I understood that this group, or at least the way it was, only worked when it was us four. And because we basically lived, or I guess the three of them lived together, and I would be there practically every day practicing, going over arrangements, and just like trying to get things perfectly so that we could perform them. But like the whole notion of having like standards and having people come in from out of town and like, playing with us, it's like it was one that wasn't like something known to us, or at least to me, but also it was like, why would we do that? We already have 4 people and we can charge this amount. And if we bring in more people, then it's less money for us. At least how I saw it. I don't know how everyone else saw it, but it's like, why would we put ourselves through that so that someone else can come and play with us? It's like, it purely from a selfish point, but that I also understand that like I knew for a very long time that I would never be able to play well in another group. That's I can rest easy knowing that, but now I can't even play it in this group, which sucks, but I play something else in the group, but even then I probably would still have a lot of trouble playing in any other group violin unless I had the music, because again, I don't know what the standards are. There's no like list of standard songs that I can look up and be like, all right, I'm going to learn all these songs. Or maybe there is, but I don't know what it is. I don't know where there's no like center for resources for this kind of thing either, unless again, there is, and I'm not aware of it, but it's like,
There is. Well, there's people's opinions on it. So
right,
everybody's going to have their own list.
It's not a written thing. It's not like it's not tangible. It's very opinionated. It's all like, well, I think it should be this way, so it's this way if you're in my group. But if it's a different group, it's like, well, I see it this way. So it's like, it's very, I don't know. I might be getting a little opinionated here, but it does seem very like hypocritical, because everyone thinks that they're right about everything. And then if you try to play with each other, it's just like, learn how to do it my way. Because at the end of the day, you could have that standard, but even that standard between groups is not the same. Because you saw when Gabriel came and played with us, all the adornos that I learned from Joseph, who plays in the same city that Gabriel is playing now, even between those two groups, those adornos are not the same. Yeah. So it's like, where is the standard? Is it really there? Or is it like this idea? Again, I don't know how it is in Texas, because it's just a different area in general. But
I would say that there is no universal standard. That's true. And I don't know. I maybe it is. Well, I mean, it is hypocritical, and it is kind of difficult to understand without having gone through it for years and years, like I did, or like many people have. But it's like, when we say standards, it's like standard songs, but also standard parts of the song.
okay,
Which is, so the way I can explain it is like, let's say, so we do mañanitas,
yeah,
right? But we do the whole damn thing, which I don't like, but that's a whole other thing. But we'll do ba, 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 and then that's the song, and then it goes into ba, 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 Gilleen, that's the, and then it goes, and then happy birthday to, right?
that was my fault. But
Do the whole thing. If we're in the valley, majority of groups would not do the first the slow intro. Majority won't do that, and then the happy birthday part. You wouldn't do So the way it would be is, that very last verse, which con jazmines y flores, con jazmines y flores, este día voy a cantar.
Yeah.
Hoy por ser. They go into the 2/4 there
Okay.
at the last part, and then go into Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
You come to Austin, nobody does that. They're gonna do the same, just a 3/4 con jazmines and flores, and then voy a cantar, and then ends, and then I forget how many it does ends, but and then happy birthday to you. But there's not really any break, and there's no ba 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 ba. It's just happy birthday. It's just straight into it. So when we say, or at least when I say cajon, it's not so much like, okay, well, you're doing this adorno, but they're not doing this adorno. But now this other group is doing this adorno. It's more of knowing the fact that, hey, we're going to do mañanitas, and then we're going to go to happy birthday. However that happens is going to be up to interpretation of however the group does it. It's like, so we did mañanitas, we did happy birthday. Okay, right away, en tu día. Go into en tu día. And then we would do felicidades. And then stop. Okay. Interact with the client. Probably go straight into hermoso cariño if it's a birthday, or the situation calls for it. And then kind of the gig will kind of flow from whatever else the way it works, what the clients want. And it's at least from how I look at it or how I see it, it's more of that. It's understanding, knowing the flow of how the gig is going to go. And the songs, even though the arrangements, the adornos are going to be different no matter where you go, it's the fact that you're going to do mañanitas into birthday, into En Tu Día, into probably some cumbia, then hermoso cariño, and then we're going to just kind of go with the client and then end it with some cumbia pupurri. It's going to have like 4 or 5 different cumbias. So at least to me, that's more what I mean, understanding how a gig is supposed to go, or the standard on how a gig would go.
I see.
You guys didn't have that. You guys just kind of like came in or said, okay, mañanitas. All right. And I was just like, what do you mean? Keep going. Like, okay. Yeah. If they see the 2/4, then they're happy birthday, and people start kind of getting into it. Mm-hmm. Go straight into Dia. Mm-hmm. They keep dancing. And it's it's kind of more of a logistical thing, right? When you look at it of trying how to manage the gig.
I always thought it was more like I see people get really riled up about adornos and all these things, and like, mm-hmm. Because I always thought it was that. I didn't realize that you were talking more about like I guess the logistical, like the flow of, setting up the scene, I guess.
Yeah.
If put it in words.
Yeah. And I mean, there are... So also the songs themselves. When I talk about a standard in the songs, so Gema is 99% of people are going to do the Javier Solis arrangement, but up a step, because Javier Solis does an F or E, so where it's mostly done in G. I think he does F sharp. I don't know. It's a weird key, and it starts pretty much the same. And the chord progression is pretty much, it's going to be the same, right? You do your scale, G, F, E flat, D, then modulate to the major. The fills, the adornos that are happening, and I'm being a little biased too, because coming from an armonía or singing it perspective, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I didn't care either until I started playing violin. It's like,
And it's like the structure of the song is that's how it's supposed to be, right? You have the main intro is still gonna be the main intro, and then the chord progression is the same. But what we mean when like do the cajon arrangement is more of that. At least to me, it's more the chord structure. There's a cajon, there's a basic chord structure that has to follow. So really, it kind of falls more on the armonía.
right.
Because now if we be like, okay, we're gonna do, Si nos dejan, but the Luis Miguel chords, that changes a bit compared to Jose Alfredo. So the cajon or standard would be the Jose Alfredo arrangement, and you would just do the chord. The chords would follow that. The chord structure is based off of that. And I guess it's kind of more of a bigger deal in like the boleros.
Right.
In rancheras, so if you have Volver, if you take Volver, where it starts, how does the violin intro go? A lot of people don't do that.
Okay.
From my experience of playing all over, and there's reasons for it. Similarly with Amor Eterno.
Mm-hmm.
The key change, we only do it when we're getting paid by the hour.
That makes sense.
Right? Because why would we spend 10 minutes on a song at a restaurant that you don't know what they're going to tip, because we don't charge per song, we just get take tips. They could give $1, they could give $0, they can give 20. That extra 30 seconds or whatever,
It adds up. I know.
it adds up. And also, it's not going to affect how much they're going to give you.
It's not. That's the thing. We figured that out at one point. I guess we kind of stopped doing that, but when we were like going hard, taloning, at least in Destin, that summer, like kind of had the method down to like, let's, play songs slightly faster and, cut out parts of it that we didn't have to do, and I think we were like all in that mindset. And then I don't know what happened. I think we got more like restaurant gigs and we were like, whatever, we'll just play the whole thing. Or like, chamas, and it was like that. We didn't talon as much. And I think that whole notion of adjusting the songs for that kind of went out the window. I haven't noticed us change any length of song in the last like 2 years, I think, or year at least. It's always been the same.
Yeah. And it's also something you have to know how to do properly, because I remember I talked to Carlos about that. I was like, why are you guys, especially when we're taloning, and strictly taloning, we're not getting planta pay, like you guys want to go out talon. Why are you playing the entire song?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, it's because we got called out one time and the client said, oh, you didn't play the entire song. And I was like, well, what did you do? And he said, so we played it, and then instead of going back to the second verse, we went to the bridge. And I want to hit him. I was like, no, you don't. I was like, you don't cut out words. You cut out the music.
Right.
And I think part of that, like, not wanting to do that or not seeing that is because of Carlos's mind thinks of so much like the music and the harmonies and the chords and like the violins. And it's like, oh, you got to build up. And the client does not care about that key change.
I've talked to him about that too. It's like clients, or at least the Mexican clients or the Spanish speaking clients in general, are like, they don't give a crap about what the hell the violinist is doing or in the intro, or like the fills. All they want to hear are the words. That's something I'm not used to, because I'm the opposite. I usually don't listen to the words. I'm trying to hear what the musicians are doing. So, but like understanding, I guess, the target demographic in terms of like who or what people are listening for in that regard, is important.
Yeah, and I mean, you're never gonna know because you could be playing for somebody that plays mariachi, and
Right.
you're not gonna
Yeah.
know, and they will know. But also, if they're also not dicks about it, they know they do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're not gonna call you out for it, especially if you're just like taloning. But cutting the intro to El Rey, that is kind of also skill in the standard, you should know. So you do like instead of doing the whole thing, you basically cut out like 6 measures or something, and you just go straight into trying to get to the voice as quick as possible.
Right.
And I guarantee the client's not gonna come back and say, "Hey, I was counting, and there are 6 bars that were missing from that intro. So, give me one."
Yeah.
So, and then that's another kind of standard or cajon thing too. Like, if we're in a situation where we're gigging, and we have to get to the next gig, and we're already behind. Say we got there late, or the client, you know, sometimes clients get and they're like, "I'll play another one," and play all this stuff. And sometimes we're like, "No, we gotta go," but sometimes fine, we'll do it. You go into talon mode, and then you're like, "Okay, we're gonna do it, but we gotta cut it." And then so the universal signal is to do this. So, well, this is just like the thumb, which also can mean B flat depending on where you're from. Like if you're calling out a key. So the key thing too is a thing.
Half the people are going to cut the song off, and half of them are going to change it to modulate to B flat.
Yeah. Or you'll just say si bemol.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're going to do a si bemol, which if we're doing like La Negra and you say si bemol, you should know, do not play La Negra in B flat. But if you bring a classical violinist and they're like, "Oh, okay, B flat," and he's like, "Okay," starts playing it in B flat. Yeah, okay, whatever. You have to know like how to kind of handle that situation too, because so if we're doing Hermoso Cariño, cut the intro, do the words, do the whole thing the first time. We come back to it, and then we go into, you know, how, so we normally go, "Hermoso cariño, hermoso cariño, que Dios ha mandado." Instead of doing that, if we're like, "Hey, Steve, be like, okay, hermoso cariño, que Dios ha mandado hacer esto," you skip that second hermoso cariño. Now the rhythm section has to follow you because the chord changes. But you would know, like, hey, we're in talon mode. Assuming we got to get to the next one. We're gonna do it, and it's just something you just kind of learn. It's like you're in these situations so many times that none of this is written down
Or rehearsed.
Yeah, or rehearsed. You don't sit down and be like, "Okay, let's rehearse our talon intros and outros."
Right.
I don't know why, but it's just also because
It's not easy.
yeah, it's not. And also, if you don't know the intros and outros, what are you gonna do? And you end up doing stuff like what y'all did or Carlos did and cutting out verses instead of cutting down the music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge difference. Clients aren't gonna notice you cutting out the intro as much as you cutting out an entire verse that could be their favorite verse of the whole damn song.
Yeah.
So all that kind of just leads into the cajon that I mean, the standards. Be like, okay, well, we're gonna play a cantronos, taloning, okay. So so with the key signatures, you already learned all the hand signals.
Me?
Yeah, you know all the hand signals.
I should.
You should.
I don't.
And then that changes within. So like I said, I played all over the U.S., at least Southeast and Texas and all that. They vary slightly. So majority is going to be the same where like this is do, right? You got C, and then re, then mi, and fa, and sol. A, la, it depends where you're at.
Yeah.
So this is la, or this is la. and L
Yeah.
or la. And then B, B is so rare, right, to do in mariachi that it's not really a sign, but technically there is, and some people would do this.
Yeah.
And then, but so this gets confusing if you're from an area that to you this is la,
Right.
but this could also be C, depending on what area you're from, because they do la like this. So then C is this,
Yeah.
and then B flat is really that you
Subtle.
so B flat. And then the minor key is funny. You know how they do the minors.
Oh my God.
El do, el re, mi fa. They just turn their hand down. In some areas they don't. They just like, oh, we're gonna do como quien pide una estrella. Like, okay, well, just say la, and it's expected. This song's in A minor. You should know it's in A minor.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play A major. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you. That's like going to gigs. It's like it's a different level, different expectation. All those subtleties that separate a like competent gigging musician are all those things. I tell you, you will never ever learn in the school.
Right.
Because why the hell do you have to know how to do, how to cut Amor Eterno to save time, to make money, when you have 2 hours on stage for a show that you've been preparing for 3 months? You get on in a gig, and there's plenty of people that don't make it, that played in the school for 6 years plus whatever, how many, and all state, all region or whatever, amazing at their voice or the instrument. They get to a gig, and then somebody just calls out like, you just say like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then you just go. And then the person's just like, what? And I just called out the entire song, the key, and who's gonna sing it. And then like, we didn't say anything. Like, you don't have to. That's not something that you ever come across. Some people just can't do it, or they don't want to take the time to learn, or that's just not what they expected to coming into a gig.
Mm-hmm.
And you all did your thing, because you combined the gigging and the school group, and it all kind of happened together. So you would take sheet music or iPads to gigs, and then you would treat school performances like a backyard gig in terms of like preparation, or like getting the song, or what songs we're going to do. Like, oh, we know the song, or just pull the song out real quick. And that's something that you would do at a gig. If, let's say, they call out a song and you don't know it, and be like, okay, well, quickly just look up the lyrics and be like, okay, we're going to do it, just to satisfy the client. But you all would still kind of do that in the school group, because you wouldn't have the music memorized. You wouldn't have proper like layout of the group, any staging, or none of that. It still was very much treated like you're at a restaurant. And I was just like, man, you guys don't understand that they're different. Now, should they be different, or should they be more connected? Maybe, but that's not how things are structured right now. And the way that y'all kind of went about it, in my opinion, didn't really satisfy either side.
Probably not.
It worked. You guys made money. The school was like, oh, look, Mariachi, we're culturally inclusive or whatever. You know, FSU is trying so hard to be an HSI, because they're 24% Hispanic right now, and you need to be like 25% Hispanic. More funding and all this stuff. And yeah, you guys would go to Destin or make money and be like, oh, look, you're giving us food and drinks. And it worked.
Yes, it did.
And it probably still would have worked if me and Daniel and Joseph and all this stuff never came and y'all continued it. But I think you guys would have been even a bigger shock. More Carlos and Gabriel. They decided to go to Texas and Gabriel went to Tampa, which he still did go through that shock, but at least I feel like he was a little bit more prepared.
Definitely.
Having like a year with me and Daniel here. And Carlos too, he takes his time learning the songs, being able to transpose. But until you're out in the field, until you're going through it, being hazed by a 60-year-old Mexican guy that thinks that you're shit, which you probably are, you don't know what it's like.
I can live without that. I actually would rather just do it here and then have that memory be untainted and never have to think about it again, unfortunately. Because I understand that is the case if I do leave, and I would rather have no animosity towards the culture, I guess. It does sadden me because it's like very frustrating to think that people are so critical, and very just hardened in their, like, it has to be this way. And I'm not going to tell you. You just got to figure it out. And it's like, you guys are douchebags. You guys are all like a bunch of assholes. I mean, I'm speaking freely here, but it's kind of the picture that has been painted for me for outside of it, which maybe deters me from wanting to do it outside of, here. So it's like...
I think some groups or kids have like formed basically all student groups that like are young. Sometimes some of them in high school or recently graduated high school, and they like only play with people within like an age range to kind of protect that situation from occurring, which is great and nice. But I feel personally, I don't know the long-term effects of it, but they're just kind of extending their school group.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, eventually, somebody from there or all of you are going to break out and leave. There's no way you guys are going to stay as a group together statistically. Maybe, but probably not. Especially being 18, 19, some of you are going to go different part of the country or so many things. Some of you are going to never play Mariachi again after a year or two. And eventually, you're still going to end up in that situation of being hazed by a 16-year-old Mexican man in Mariachi. But now you're 20, 21 instead of happening when you're 18. Maybe you're more mature and it helps that way better. Or maybe it's the opposite and now, okay, well, I'm 21 already and I still don't know shit. And now I'm even further behind because I spent the last 3 years playing with my friends and we just played the songs that we liked and that we knew. So now I'm 3 years behind somebody else that decided to go and play with, a much older crowd. And then they quit. I don't know the long-term effects of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at what point is it less or more enriching? Is it more enriching to be in that group with your friends and make the music that you want to do and then do that and then let it run its course and then never do it again? Or do you jump right into it sucking and then maybe it doesn't suck later, but you're still going to have that hardened mindset of like, you have to go through it. Some people don't want to go through it. I don't really want to go through it. I'm totally fine. I'll do that with other genres of music. Like I'm already used to it with classical music. It's like, you feel like a moron sitting in the orchestra sometimes because there's a lot of stuff that you don't know. And, these people are sight reading all this music and it's like, oh my God, I can't keep up. I'm not cut out for this. I went through that already, so I've gotten to the point where I've realized it's probably going to be the most fun when you do it with people that you like, at least in terms of making music. And to me, this is where it gets subjective. The point of making music is not, it's to make money sometimes, but like if you're going to make money, you might as well enjoy doing it, If I want to not enjoy myself, I could do something else and make probably more. But when it comes down to if you're going to make music and you want to make it work, you should probably do it with people that you like. You know, you don't want to be in an office job with the 6-year-old Mexican busting your ass, you know, because you could do that in an office or you could do that in mariachi, and it's... which one do you want to ruin it? Like, which one do you want to get ruined, the music or the office job? I would say the office job, because you could find other parts in your life that are more enriching. But at the end of the day, there is a medium, I think. But for some people, don't think that. Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
You need to be hazed.
I have to be hazed. Oh, crap. Well, there goes that idea.
I don't know, but I mean, you also have to consider two very different cultures. Even being Mexican American, you're dealing with groups managed by people that these older guys born in Mexico. The whole atmosphere, that songs, so even the arrangements, the clients, the way the bookings are handled, the pay is all on, I'd say on average, on a big scale, different from playing with somebody that's born in the U.S. and manages a group. So it's different, and sometimes you play in a mixed group, and those are interesting, which I did for many years. There was, I think, 6 of us in that group. Let's see, 6 of us in the group. 2, the older guys, the one in charge, and then another guy who was not that much older, but like 10 years older than us, born in Mexico in San Luis. And the other 3, excluding myself, they were all born in the U.S. and they didn't speak Spanish. And these guys only spoke Spanish.
Oh my God.
So I had to interpret for them, because they was like, well, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. I was like, oh, you can sing. But everybody in there was either Mexican or Mexican descent. Mm-hmm. And their philosophy, the older guys, is very different approach to how mariachi and stuff should be done than how new generation. So you might find it crazy, but I am way more, I don't know the best way to say it, but liberal in my views of like how mariachi should be compared to...
If you worked with us, I would imagine. Huh? You've given me only a mere glimpse into what it could be like. I know I don't like it.
Compared to, so I've been through it with some of these groups and these guys. I think some of the things they did or said were too far. But then there's still got to be like a standard. But my standard is different than theirs. Playing that group was funny though, because sometimes I'll misinterpret on purpose. and just say some wild things, or just suddenly though, the trumpet player, one of them that was from San Luis, he would get super drunk, and man, he would get very touchy, and he would suddenly be a lot better at English.
Huh.
He knew English in the dirty sense.
Right.
So yeah, that group, that was a wild time. I was with that group. We were together for like 2 years. Which in an area like that where mariachis are constantly kind of rotating and going in and out, that's a good run for a group, like, because it was like the same members for that long. Wow. Half of us Texas State people, then the others were like older guys. But now we're at I have no idea what it's going to be like in the fall. But the group terms here in like Mariachi, Tallahassee, right? And then the school group too. That's the thing that I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to be involved or how much I will be or won't be. Things are kind of constantly changing. And then the people in the group from the fall, I don't know. I assume it's mostly the same, but Joshua left. But it seems like Angelo's going to come in and violins. I don't know. Things are changing. And then Danny's supposed to graduate next May. So you might be coming back.
Maybe. Big maybe.
You make a comeback on vihuela.
Maybe I'll just pick up a golpe now and call it a day.
Just bring your electric guitar.
At that point, they'll have so many violins and harmonia. They need something to spice it up.
Maybe Joseph play on vihuela.
Ah, that would be interesting.
I have no idea what a year from today. Maybe no more group.
That is very possible. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know if Carlos is going to stay, right?
Well, he's gonna do the PhD, so it's gonna take him at least. I say at least 3 years, but maybe he does it in 2. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to be here another 2 years, at least.
You know, we haven't even talked about the stupid duo that we.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, you're using this. Are you using that Instagram page?
Yeah, so we are.
Oh yeah.
So I did that because I already had 5 Instagrams.
Yeah.
So I had my personal one, I had the photography page, I had my boxing channel. I had the FSU Mariachi one. I haven't logged into that in a while. And then this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, am I really going to make a 6th one? Nah. So if you type up Los Mariachi Sagas, this will pop up. But if you also type up Los Ecuador, this will pop up. Because I think the way I did it is the username is Los Mariachi Sagas, but the name of the account is Dual Ecuador.
Yeah.
So
It's good branding.
yeah, I'm just double dipping like crazy. And I don't know. I was like, it's still 2 people.
Yeah.
Mariachi related, kind of. And there's a dark skinned Latino and a light skinned Latino, and just cut your hair and get some contacts, and you'll be Matt.
I do have contacts.
But he had blue eyes.
Oh, those kind of contacts.
Yeah.
I see.
And then you got to get a little buffer.
A little buffer? Damn. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we started the duo last summer,
Yeah.
and we've had some good weeks.
Yes, we have.
We're just trying to make bunches of money. I had this idea to do something like this back in 2016.
Dang.
It never happened. I couldn't find the people. Again, I was also moving all over the place. And then I had the idea again in 2021 when I moved back to the Valley again. And at this point, I wanted to do like classical gigs, the classical guitar and violin, a duet, and play weddings and conferences or office parties, all that stuff. And I got together with a violin player, a friend of mine that we've known each other since high school. We met at one of the all-region competitions. So we practiced a little bit, but again, I ended up moving again. And so I never took off. And then I came here, and then Carlos said, all right, I'm leaving. Even after he said he was going to stay. So, and I didn't really come to the idea, and then suddenly I was like, hey, Michael, you play violin, right? You have a performance degree in violin.
I do.
And I was like, I remember how to play guitar, and I sing songs. I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So we spent a couple of weeks rehearsing because you had to basically learn the trumpet parts to a lot of things.
Yes. That was awful. Some of those songs, oh my God. I was like flipping between parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, if you grew up gigging mariachi, you would just
know
you
everything.
would just know.
Yeah.
everything. You don't have to.
I know I'm at a disadvantage. I know. I've overcome such strong hurdles. You don't have to remind me how.
Overcome being Cuban.
Yeah.
You want your Mexican stamp of approval.
Yeah. That's all I need, and then I can move on with life.
Yeah, we started the duo de cuerdas, and I want to do like guayaberas, do like dress pant thing, which in my mind it looked better. We looked fine, but I didn't realize how many people casually dress like that. And I was like, oh, if we were walking the streets of Cuba, we would just be going to
Blend
get
in.
breakfast.
Yeah. And in Miami too. But I've worn the red one out because I just like it. It's a nice shirt. It's a damn nice shirt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so we've gotten a couple gigs. We did some restaurant tours. We've learned more songs. I think we've also forgotten songs
Definitely.
that we used to play. We have some shows coming up. This is going to be out way after these, but we are going to play July 10th. I don't even know where yet.
Oh,
he hasn't told me which restaurant.
nice.
And then again on the 31st. And then in August, but now I got to figure those out because you decided to leave.
I did. Which day was it again?
The 8th and the 24th of August.
Oh yeah. The 24th or the 27th?
The 27th, whatever, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, 27th, because 24th is yeah, Tuesday.
Oops.
Yeah, you're gone. So now I want to see if he wants one of the other dates.
Yeah.
That as of now you're here, but is Michael's a little flaky.
I'm not a little flaky. I'm very flaky.
Yes,
No.
extremely flaky. But the one one of our best days or weeks was when we went to Panama last year. I got a request for this gig, and I didn't see the email until like an hour later. And they're like, "Oh, can you be here at 6 or 7 or something?" I think it was 6. And because of the time change, we would have to leave at 5.
Yeah.
If we want to get there right at 6. It's like 4:40. And I'm just blowing up Michael's phone, right? It's just like, Michael, fucking answer the phone. Instagram, nothing. You just weren't answering the phone. And I was like, we got to go right now. And that was also because the lady paid in full.
Oh.
Like immediately.
Oh my God.
Because I sent the quote and I was like, she's not going to book us. So I sent a stupid quote. And she paid it immediately. I was like, yeah, Michael, you got to answer. So I was like, it's probably with Kaylee.
This was true.
So I messaged her from the Instagram, the Mariachi Saga's Instagram, which I don't even know if I changed the Duo de Acuerdos yet, but I was like, where the fuck is Michael? I don't remember what I told her, but she was like, oh, he's right here. I was like, tell him to answer the phone. So he answered, and I was like, Michael, you got to get over here right now. And we ended up making it, but also like we started like 30 minutes later because they weren't even there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to a convenience store and I bought a box of Q-tips. Totally unrelated. I bought a box of Q-tips and I still have it in my house from last year.
I don't remember you buying. Why did you buy a box of Q-tips?
Because I didn't have any Q-tips. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm here. I might as well buy a box of Q-tips.
Panama City Q-tips.
Yeah. Long drive.
Yeah, so we played 2 hours. Well, we only played like an hour and something. And then they're like, we can play another 2 hours? And they're like, how much? I was like, well, I mean, it's the same what we charge. And I was like, okay. They played us 4 hours. And then tipped us $100 each on top. Yeah, that one was nice.
That one was very nice. Where did they go?
They're from Houston.
Oh.
They're just visiting, vacationing.
Yeah.
And I guess the guy wanted to propose to his girlfriend.
Yeah, I remember that.
At that time.
I think that was the first time I heard, I had ever heard Bobby the Navi.
Oh,
I remember
my
that because
God,
we
yeah,
played it.
We did Bobby Navido.
I only remember that because we were playing it like it was yesterday, right? Or was it 2 days ago?
Well, we did Saturday.
On Saturday. I remember that, and I was watching you play, and I'm like, I have a memory connected to this, and it is Panama City Beach, what we're talking about right now.
That was the first time you did Bobby the Navido, and you had some weird
It was
arrangement.
awful.
And I
Terrible.
kept trying to follow it. I'm like, I can't figure out the melody you're doing.
I did that for like 6 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the hell I'm playing right now.
At some point, I just started playing whatever. They asked for like Grupo Frontera, and I was like, Michael, but I'm gonna play something. So I did that. We did a whole bunch of stuff, and we played on the beach, like on the sand.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, which we haven't had that yet. Had that again. I've gotten plenty of requests, Panama City and Destin, Pensacola, but nobody wants to pay. But it's also because they're like, "Can you play like 15 minutes?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, this is a quote," and it's some freaking like $400 or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they don't. I'm like, what do you want to do? It's 2.5 hours just to get there, and we got to come back, and it's a different time zone. Like, no. So most don't, but we did get one for next week. That's in Panama City. Serenade,
Which day is that again?
July 13th.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, we've done. I mean, I guess we kind of mostly do restaurants with the duo. It's just harder to get gigs too. Well, I mean, we've done a couple of the fountains and the birthdays.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we've had the apartment gigs too. Those are fun.
Oh my God, dude, I hate those so much.
It's so awkward. It is so unbelievably awkward. I love them. Every time we do it, because we walk out with a lot more money than we should be walking.
Yeah. Especially because if it's like the parents or something that hire us, the birthday person, they normally don't want us to play for like that long. And one of the lessons we did, this guy wanted to hire us at first for 2.5 hours. Or so it was something like that. And I was like, I didn't even want to send a quote because it said for like 21st birthday or something. And I was like, fountain. And I was like, it's not going to be worth it. I'm gonna charge you a ridiculous amount of money because we have to be here 2.5 hours, and they're not going to want to hear us for 2.5 hours, and we don't even really have 2.5 hours of music.
No, we don't.
Not music that they're gonna like for 2.5 hours. But ultimately, he still paid for an hour, and yeah, we did it. Yeah, but those are so interesting because those apartments are like small and like they put us like in the kitchen or whatever, and then
Yeah.
a bunch of people just watching. I mean, so we got to do like, was it
Poco Loco.
Poco Loco, right? La Bamba, Cucaracha, like all that stuff because that's what they're gonna recognize and be like, oh, like they're real. And I don't even know what people call it. Probably most people just call us mariachis.
Maybe.
Just because
I think they're always expecting a trumpet. Usually.
yeah, probably. I did do a solo gig though one time.
Oh, yeah?
This guy called our Instagram. He kept like asking, like, "Hey, can you come?" Like, freaking, I don't remember what it was. Serenade his girlfriend, her birthday or something. She was like Cuban or something. And you weren't here. You were, you were out of town for something, and you weren't getting back till next day or 2 days. And I told him, I was like, we can do it like in a few days or something. And he was like, what if you just come, or like just you by yourself? And I was like, I mean, I could if you really want to. And he was like, yeah, fine, whatever. I'll pay you whatever, the same amount. And I was like, okay. So I go and I did this gig, and it was literally, he just wanted one song. I think I played Hermoso Cariño or something. And that was it. But that is the day though that my microphone broke. When I pulled it out of the speaker, it just like ripped off.
Nice.
But yeah, we have more shows coming up. I'm trying to now figure out if I do bring this back, the podcast more regularly. I'm gonna kind of maneuver the two.
Alternate days.
I'm gonna switch the name whenever I upload episodes. Switch it to Mariachi Sagas. Whenever we have a show, I'm gonna switch it back.
A bad idea.
And now there's people that are following Instagram that have no idea who the quote of this is. They're following the podcast. I got to build up that audience again. I lost so many followers from not uploading for 3 years. Did you know that happens? When you don't upload for 3 years, people stop listening to you or caring about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that.
It's weird because, I don't see some of my family for 3 years, but then I go see them. They don't stop talking to me.
Yeah.
They're just not loyal.
Shame.
So, Michael, we got 7 minutes. What's been your favorite memory of being here in, I don't know, Mariachi? We didn't even get to talk about Palace Rats.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
That's going to take a few days to air out all the... Imagine having all the Palace Rats members on the...
Hey, man, you should do it. That'd be a good...
Sober?
I don't know if they do it.
I
I don't know if I'd do it.
But what's been your favorite thing? Who have you hated them, or what have you enjoyed?
What I've enjoyed the most? I don't know. If there was like a time period that I enjoyed the most, it was when they were living on Barberville Drive, I think, because I would spend like every single day there. I'd drive there and I just eat shit for hours, and we'd practice and we'd do whatever. But it was a nice like year of bonding and like go there and we'd all drive out. But the Dustin gigs were fun. They were very exhausting though because we'd usually drive back the same night. But there was. Sorry, I'm like trying to comb through all of the bullshit that's happened. But there was one night I think that we played. I think it was like it wasn't Kep. It was like one of the restaurants out in Destin or like that area, Panhandle area, and we got a hotel bought for us by the owner of the restaurant because he was like, he just stayed there until after the close, and literally while we were there, the cashier, like one of the waitresses, the hostess was like calling him saying, "Hey, we have mariachis here," and I think he showed up because we were there, and we were just there for hours, like playing, and he was giving us a lot of tequila, and then he was like, "No, don't drive back. You guys got to stay here. We're gonna buy your hotel. You guys drive, and then you go back tomorrow." And we're like, "Okay," and then we walked over to the hotel. We left our cars in the restaurant parking lot, and then that was a pretty strong memory. And then all the other nights that we were like played at restaurants and stayed well after close and had money continued being thrown at us, and alcohol. It was a very interesting time. It has never been like that since you guys got here. I have to say, it was a very unique like client group or mariachi relationship that we had, I think.
Yeah, I'm also older, and I'm like, I don't care.
That's true. We had more light in our eyes at the time, I think, but it's different now. We have a bunch of jaded professionals.
I came in and said, took my belt off. Said, "You're wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong."
You're having too much fun. That's the problem. See, I think that's the common denominator.
Yeah.
Too much
This
fun.
isn't supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be work.
It's a job that you're supposed to hate in 10 years.
Right.
You're on your way.
Yeah. I still think it's fun.
I don't know. I wasn't very much drinking, partying much either, even in my younger time.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, still was 18 to 22 at one point in college at Texas State. We would have our annual Halloween party, Mariachi Halloween party. Those travels when we go to conferences or workshops and stuff. Always some stuff going on at the hotel. I don't know, people getting lost, people getting drunk. There's one guy that was driving the van that hit a pole.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a unique thing too, right? In mariachi, because you don't get to experience as much. Even like in a rock band, you do that, but like, because you got like so much equipment and like the tear down and stuff. Like, it just takes away time, and then by that point, people already left or went somewhere else. And mariachi, I'm like, okay, bup, and then okay, and then you're just there. You don't go nowhere if you don't have to.
Sure.
So, and then it's like a more intimate experience, right, with the clients and stuff. So mariachi will keep going. You're gonna keep playing. We're gonna keep playing. We got said shows coming up, and this episode will be up in, I don't know, hopefully less than 3 years.
I'm not counting on it.
Everybody's doubting me right now, and they should, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna not take 3 years to edit and upload this.
Okay, I believe in you.
You're a liar. Okay, we're done. You got anything else? Oh, what do you want to follow you? You want to follow Palace Rats? You want
Follow Palace Rats on Instagram, Palace Rats HQ. I think that's the name. No spaces, no nothing. Just Palace. Not that. Oh my god. Palace Rats HQ. The letters H and Q, which would be Palace Rats HQ. Never mind.
I think it's Palace Rats HQ.
That's it. He's got it.
All right, this has been Michael Mesa.
Signing off. Thank you.
Bye. See you later.
Later.
Mariachi song.